Could you everybody, Coach Rab here, and welcome to another Kilted Chess Noob episode. No, I'm not a chess coach, not even close. I'm a health and wellness coach that happens to love the game of chess. And today's episode is all about practicing the endgame. So just before going into the full content lesson, just remind each other, I'm not a chess coach. My content is designed for people who are absolute beginners, and that you get a little bit of a nibble, a little bit of understanding, then you go off and then you learn even more if you want to from people that really know what they're talking about. I'm just trying to showcase my journey along the way. So when I go over this stuff with Endgame, this is purely what I've been learning so far and my understanding of it. I was chatting to one of my friends recently who's got back into playing, and I was explaining some of this endgame stuff to him, and he was like, oh, right, okay. Now, again, I'm just showing what I've learned. And it takes away the mystique of it, because sometimes you can get to these endgame scenarios and you have no clue what to do, and you can end up losing a winning position. And that is really frustrating. So what I'm going to do today is take you through what I've learned so far, and we'll do some king and pawn endgames. Now, if you are one of my loyal patrons, I'm doing an extended version right after this, and we're going to delve into more puzzle-based scenarios. So I'll show you that. And I'll give you a little nugget for a particular endgame trainer software that's completely free as well, which is great. But today, we're going to make use of chess.com. So chess.com have got this great feature. If you log in via your browser, you go to train, and then when you click on train, you go down to endgame practice or drills or something. And I'm selecting the ones today. I'm going to select the winning king and pawn, and then we'll take through intermediate wins. We'll have a quick look at advanced wins, but I suspect I'll get quite a few wrong. So winning king and pawn, well, what you can do, there's 5 of them to practice, beginner level, and then you can do the challenge where you try and just do them quickly. Today I won't do the challenge because fast play can sometimes lead to mistakes. I'm going to talk through the thought process behind it, so you start to understand, right, this is what I'm trying to do. And again, once you get a small understanding, you can then go off and watch some of these awesome chess creators that can explain things in more depth. All right, so we'll start off with the first challenge. And from here, if you'll see, we are white. Our king is facing their king, and we've got this pawn. Now, in an endgame scenario, if their king gets your pawn, it ends up your pawn, it ends up in a draw because you need a winning piece. You need like a queen or a rook or something like that. So the goal is to get that pawn to the top. Now, there's something we're going to cover today to do with opposition. And opposition is when you act as a bodyguard for your pawn. And it all comes down to who has to move next. Now, at the moment, our kings are staring at each other, so we're in opposition. Now, normally, if I'm the one that has to move, I'm on the losing side of opposition. However, this pawn can do the move for me, because again, in the game of chess, you take turns. So once I move that pawn, which I will do, it will force my opponent to move either direction, and then that dictates what we're going to do. And I'm going to show you a little technique about opposition. So the way it was explained to me when I was learning is opposition is as if your pawn is a celebrity, your king acts as the bodyguard, and anytime somebody tries to stand directly in line with your celebrity, you stand in their way to block their path. Then they have to move off, and you can then move up and progress. Now, remember as well, this king covers all the squares around it, but the main ones are in front. So the opponent's king, if he has to move, can only move here or here. Can't go here because of this king blocking that square. So it is quite important to remember the dynamic that your king has. So in this position here, to kick off, we're going to move our pawn, which then puts the ball in the opponent's court. So we push the pawn. Their king had to move. Now, what we try to do, using the same scenario with the celebrity and the bodyguard, is once you get to the final 3 squares, I know this puzzle basically started there, we want to come off to the side. The reason we come off to this side and not that side is, one, we can't go there right now. And if we were to go to this square, this king would then just block us, and we would start losing the initiative, if you like. So the reason we want to move to this square here is, once you've got these 3 squares covered, which this king would cover here, here, and here, you can then chauffeur your pawn in, and your pawn will promote. So there, we move up here. Doesn't matter where the king moves to now, you can then chauffeur that pawn. That king cannot do anything about that pawn because your king protects it. then you promote to the queen, and then it's just a case of finishing the game with the queen, which I'll just show quickly. I use a similar format to what I do with the rook. So in these situations, I cut off the king as quickly as possible. If he runs back, I then reduce the square again, so bring it down, he moves back, he's making my job easier. He's coming across, but that doesn't matter. We bring the king, bring the king, bring the king. He's jumped back, so we're going to bring our queen down. Now we've cut off the king. He's stuck on the back line now. We're going to bring our king in closer, bring him closer, bring him. I could have got a checkmate there, and then there, bring him in, checkmate, jumped. Okay, so when you get to king and queen versus king, it is actually quite simple. You do have to be careful you don't stalemate. That's why I keep my queen out the way the last possible second, and then just march in closely. So that was the first one. Again, these are beginner levels and you can build from there. So the second one, here we are. Now, from this position here, we have the pawn is already moved. So we're actually going to have to move off to one side. Now, I think for this one, we'll put, if I move here, I think if I move to one side, he's going to move up. I can then push and then chauffeur my pawn all the way in. There we are. And again, we can then just cut off the king. He's moved down. That's fine. He's moved down. He's stuck on the second last rank there. Just bring him in. Oh, just chase him in here. Now he's moved on to the back rank. I don't mess around with that position because you can end up with a stalemate. So just push him back this way. Okay, now he's running. Bring him down. Bring him down. And this will be a checkmate here. Okay, so that's that second one done in the bag. Let's look at this position. Now this one's slightly different because the pawn is on its starting square, and pawns on their starting square can jump too, but you need to get your bodyguard in place first. We're going to bring our king around, and then because the king has moved forward, we want to create opposition. Remember that whole bodyguard thing? He's gone off to one side, so what we do is we mirror him, and now he's gone back to center. He's staring at our celebrity, and we're saying, no, not on my watch. Block again. Forces him off the other side. And when he goes off the other side, we make progress again. He's jumped back. So again, we're pushing him to the back, but he also has eyes on our pawn now. So we say, nope. We create opposition, forcing him to move. Now in this position, I think we can jump here. He's got opposition again. So I think we'll jump in. Now, I'm wondering if we jump all the way up. Now, if we start marching, I think we can get away with that now. We might need to bring king down. Now, if we push the opposition, yes, so we can push. Then we've got the opposition again, forces him off. Now we're going to chauffeur our pawn all the way in. You see that? And then it's all she wrote again because we just keep working our king down, pushing him back. That's fine. Pushing down. Doesn't usually take too long once you know what you're doing. Oh, I could have just brought the queen in there. I forget because it's a similar thing I do with queen and rook, but obviously the rook doesn't have the same dynamics that the queen has. And then checkmate here, there we are. Okay, so that was that one done. So again, it's the opposition thing that you're trying to achieve here. Number 4, okay, so this is slightly different. So our king is not directly next to the pawn yet. So we still want to make some progress, so we'll come across. Now he has then got opposition, we can't have that, so we block. He's gone that way, so we're going to make some progress. He's got eyes on our pawn, so we put opposition in, we don't let it happen. He's cut off, we make some progress. He's got eyes on our pawn, we block. He's gone off, we've pushed aside, he's pushed down. This is when we can start to run our pawn. Because he's running down, we're going to have to protect that pawn. We could probably run again, create the opposition, and then we can chauffeur in. See, we've got the clear run now, because even when the pawn goes to here, puts him in check, he can't take because of the king. Take, queen, and we win from there. All right, we don't need to finish that one off. And then the 5th one, these are all beginners. Now this is different. I've been trying to learn the B and the G pawns, the BGs, always remember that. You want to try, if possible, get to the outside of your pawn. So at the moment he's got opposition, but we can't quite get to it, so we're going to come down a bit. Now I think, do we want to push the pawn here? Create the opposition, and I'm pretty sure I want to get to here. Can we create here? I think we can still go this way though, and then go right. Yeah, and then run it in. So with the B and the G pawns, I'm pretty sure you're trying to get to the outside if possible, because you sometimes have to watch that their king doesn't get trapped in the corner and end up a stalemate. So that's something else I've been working on. So that's the beginner's one done. We'll look at the intermediate. These are things you can practice and drill on chess.com. So if you are new, I would definitely recommend it. There are videos to go with it, although the videos are, you'll probably find better videos online, but it's worth a crack anyway. Right, let's look at the intermediate. So we've got, and again, if you look at the bot we're playing here, 3200 bot, it's a beast, but this should be a winning position, and that's why it's good to study these things, because if you get yourself into this position, you don't want to lose a winning position. That sucks. Losing's losing if your opponent just smashes you or gets themselves in a winning position and beats you, fine. But if you're winning and you let it go, you're like, oh god, that stings. Right, so from this position here, again, this is a B pawn, so I'm wanting to get over here, I'm pretty sure. So I'm going to bring my king across, and I want to cover. Oh, that was an easy one, straight through. Now again, their king can do a number of things there, but when you practice these a lot, you know, you get all the different alternatives. It also gives you it'll list which moves was best, even if you didn't play the best move. But very quickly you'll learn which ones are the best moves to play. Right, position number 2 is a bit trickier. So our pawn is way over here. So I think, is it this way first? Now, if I remember right, I think I need to be counterintuitive here. You know, do we go here, here? Yeah, so I think we need to then go counterintuitive there, and then I think, is it there? Hold on. And then I go up the way. No, if I go up the way, he comes down. That's not good. Oh, I push the pawn, that's what I do. It forces him off, and then I've got it. That's it. So I'll just go through that one again. See, look, there's something else you do. So although you've got opposition, sometimes you can do a little triangle move over 3 squares to kind of re-divert yourself, because when it's in king and pawn endgames, assuming your opponent doesn't have another pawn to play a move, you play, your opponent plays, you play, your opponent plays. So the fact your opponent has to move can play into your strategy. So with this one, I think it's going to happen the same way. So I think I'm going to have to go there, then there. So if I go here, then there, he comes across here, push the pawn, bring up, and then we're in. Yep. So again, these are things to sort of learn. I really need to do the full ending of that one. Right, now this was one that took me a little bit of a while. This is counterintuitive to what you're doing, because initially I was trying to then think, right, I need to get my king to guard my pawn and somehow get all the way around here to, you know, get on the other side or whatever. But then I remembered that this king cannot get past this pawn. The king can't go this way at the moment either because of my king. So what we do is we push up and then we push across. Now I can't go there or there right now, so I push up and then I come down. Now I can't take the pawn right away, but he's going to have to play a move and his pawn's stuck. So I push up, he has to go away, and then I get in, and then from there we can then chauffeur our pawn in. See that? So if I just reset that one, is that the king couldn't progress because that pawn was covering that square. First couple of times I was playing it, I was making silly moves like trying to run all the way around here, and I just wasn't getting it at all. So from here you come away because the king has to move, and when I come back I defend these 2 squares. So the king can't go into any of those 2 squares. But he's cleverly defended that, so I just go up again and then come in again. So there's that triangle thing, little 3-way block thing I was telling about, and then I have to do it again. So go up and then come down, and then I block the top square. He's in check, can't go anywhere. Boom, boom. There we are. Fourth one, let's have a look. Now this is one where again I'm probably going to have to get onto the H file because this is a G one. So I think I want to get behind my pawn initially. When you're working off king and pawn endgames, there's something known as the square. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 squares to crown. So that you've got the king plus 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is my square, right? Including my pawn. And the opponent's king is in the square. So the opponent's king can catch that pawn. So when it's these situations, I've realised they have to get the king across onto the shouldering, bring it up, and then from there I cover this square, I believe. I think I can push the pawn, block, get onto here, chauffeur in, that's it. the B and the G squares. I've noticed that I've got to learn those ones. I mean, remember, if you're playing any of the faster formats, like if you play daily and you can sit and rehearse and do the analysis button, you can get yourself out of trouble. But if you're playing rapid, blitz or bullet, you're going to do this under pressure, so you really need to kind of practice these positions so that you get them all very, very quickly. And the last one we'll show you with intermediate is a 3-on-3 pawn scenario. Now, we are further from that group than our opponent is. So when it's 3-on-3 and it's your move, the way that you can push through here or poke through, almost like, I always remember like knots and crosses, whoever gets the middle is doing well. You push your middle pawn. Now, depending on what they do next, you're going to give them a decision. So if they take with that, you push this pawn. And the reason you push that pawn is they've got a choice. They either take your pawn, and if they do, we take that one, or they take that pawn and we push. And regardless, we end up with a passed pawn. A passed pawn is one that's got a clean line to the end zone. So when they've taken, we push. He's taken there, so we push now. Passed pawns must be pushed. And then we get up into this sort of zone here. And then that just becomes a matter of eliminating pawns. And I'll probably go here, here, and move the king, probably. Move the king. Just bring my king across. Let's see, can we get this? Take that pawn, move the king. We do this. No, we'll end up with a. What's this now? Now check. Boom thingy, and then it'll be all Shiro after that. We just then back to one. So those are the intermediates. Again, these are on chess.com, completely free with your membership. The advanced ones I've been working on, I'm not that great. I'll maybe just attempt one of them. This one, for example, this pawn's well placed. He can't move that pawn or we'll take, and we've got a passed pawn, right? So that's fine. He can't push that pawn or we will take, so he ends up in a difficult position. This pawn could take, but it's us to move, and we've got this pawn blocking. So I believe in this situation we take here first of all, and then I think we need to move the king here, then get in, and then we need to put the king in check, sacrificing it. Then we gobble, free our pawn, and then we push. Now from this position here, again, it's different things. I think I've played around. I usually get the checkmate on this one. It's just a case of dealing with all the pawns before they become a problem, if you like. So just get rid of them gradually. Anyway, you see the idea there. So there's a lot of advanced ones in there too, and it's worth trading on. So I am going to jump onto the Patreon account now, and I'm going to make an extended one where I'm going to make use of another piece of software that someone sent me, which is fantastic. It's completely free. You can access it either via Android phone or the web app. I'll be using the web app version too, where it has a huge library of different endgames, because the ones I've been sort of working on now, which I find extremely difficult, is when you have a rook and you're playing against like a knight or a bishop, and it sounds like it should be straightforward, but it's not, because everywhere you go you're trying to watch them get forked and everything. So but it's worth practicing these endgames. So at first glance, if you're watching these videos with people online, you might think, oh my goodness, you might have played a good game and got to that last bit and threw it away, and then you start thinking chess is hopeless. Well, it's not. It's just that you have to learn the opening. There's lots of different openings. I've talked about them on this channel. The middle game is mostly tactics, and the end game, it then becomes all about the geography of the board, which is really what that is, or the geometry, to be more accurate. So the geometry of the board and understanding how the pieces work. So it is something you can learn, and you will beat the vast majority of people you play in it. If they're not rehearsed, if they're not familiar with it, you will beat them in these situations. So it's definitely worth checking out. Thank you as always, everybody. Please like, comment and subscribe, and if you're a member of Patreon, head over now and you'll see the advanced endgame section. Thank you. Bye bye.